Very good morning to one and all. So, welcome to the session on data structures, algorithm, and design course with with the course code Ss Zg519. So, in the last session, we started with this asymptotic notations, the importance of an asymptotic notation, and the one who has actually invented them. Can anyone answer me the question who has actually invented an asymptotic notation? Did I answer that question? Oh, I forgot to ask you that question. So you have all the freedom to use Google when I have certain questions when I ask. Okay, voice is not audible. Okay, yeah, fine. Okay, great. Yeah. So if you see, it's Edmund actually. It's Edmund who has actually introduced the asymptotic notation, and it's the Donald E. Kunu who is the person who has actually did lot of research and implemented the asymptotic notation in the day-to-day algorithmic design. Okay, so these are the people who actually invented. Edmund is the one who actually invented the asymptotic notation, and highly usage was done by Donald. Actually, he has written a very famous book on called Algorithm. You can say Algorithm 1, 2, 3 series, which is considered as the best book in the world for algorithm here. It's a complete guide. Okay. So now, those were the people who actually invented, and we discussed there are three types of asymptotic notation. The big O notation, which talks about the upper boundary. Then we discussed about theta notation, which talks about the closest type bound or average. And the third one is the lowest boundary, where we will represent the omega notation. So these were the three notations which are very popularly used in time complex calculation or representation of a time complexity. In the previous session, we have also discussed about how to find the functionality equation using primitive operators, where we have used very important primitive operators like signing, expression, and all this. With them, we try to calculate the functionality equation, or what you say is it, the time taking equation, and based upon the equation we could always compute the upper boundaries of a time complexity using the big O notation, where we discussed about big O notation with respect to drop down the lower values and dropping the constant multiplier. This we discussed. Apart from that, mm, okay, apart from this, we also started with some generic rules how to calculate time complexity when I use certain generic rules when I write an algorithm or a program. So in this last section, we started with loops. I'll again restart with the loops, the nested loops, and the if else condition. Then, if it is a logarithmic value, however, I'm going to use my time complexity, and we'll revisit all the three same problems what we did, and apart from that, we'll do one new problem. After that, we will move to the master theorem, which will take 20 minutes for the explanation. If you have any questions, I am requesting you, please do post at the end of each topic. So I'll wait for the question. So then we'll have the discussions, right? Great. So in the last session, when we were discussing, there was a big confusion between a lot of people who were calculating the operations sequence wherever it is also loop. Now I'll talk about loop. See, forget about what we learned in the last session for a minute. For to understand each topic individually, then we will combine all the knowledge that we have gained at the time of examples, right? Okay. Now, for example, you have written a program where there is a particularly a loop. Using let's say, for example, we have taken for loop in this case. Now, the time taken to run for this for loop would be simply you can, by looking at, you can that the time taken is order of n for the for loop. Yes, no, or n times the for loop getting executed. You will agree with that statement, because I have to do comparison and then I have to increment every time. That at least that statement you can say I'm going to run it for n time. Now what happens is, apart from that, there was no braces saying that in the programmatic way we write in detail about how where the loop has to end and the loop at. But when we are writing this what do you call pseudocodes, we might not be giving so importance to the braces, right? Now what happens after the for loop, there is a constant which is m is equal to m plus 2. It's a simple assignment of additional operation and then assigning operation. So it is going to perform the particular statement in constant time. Yes or no? You agree that? You will agree that yes, it's going to perform in some constant time, that m is equal to m plus 2. Where for I will take some constant time and assigning the value to m, I will take some constant time. That's clear. So if now what is total complexity of this program? A big question. When we are writing, these are primitive operators. Just calculate it. Now when I write, how do I write the equation is a big question. Someone will say n plus c. Let's say n plus c. That's the problem. This is not a sequential program for an instance. Remember, I'm just talking for the loop. If it is a sequential step-by-step program, what you have written is correct, that n plus c is the correct answer. But unfortunately, we are discussing it as a loop. When we consider, this as loop, what happens is I have entered into my loop and I'm performing some task which is part of the loop, which is part. You mean to say I have not kept the bracket. After this, there is an addition operation that is also happening. Okay, right? So one second. Let me add the ink. I'd like to put the color right. Great. Okay. So at this point we had used this is very thick. Let me change. Okay. So it might be little well that okay. I think this equation agreed that is going to run n times. Absolutely. Now what happens is work for m is equal to m plus 2. You are agreeing that this particular operation is going to work. Is going to perform with a constant time, that is c. That's clear. Now someone has written an answer. The time taken for whole this program to run is n plus c, which is wrong. Someone would have said I am taking n plus c to perform this. Sorry, this is h. This is n plus c. Okay. Someone has said this is wrong. Why I'm saying you is what happens is look, this is a loop. What happens is the for and m is equal to m plus 2 are part of the loop. So m plus 2 is part of this loop. So I perform n times into constant. Remember, when it is loop, you're not looking it as sequence. You're just looking it as n into c. So basically, you can even think as from internal to out. So I'm having a constant time c, which is part of my loop. So I am in the loop. That's why it is c into n or n into c. So the time taken for this whole loop is now someone will be saying, "Are you saying 2n plus 2n plus nc?" No, that okay. Now I have a very interesting. Someone is talking about the whole time for this should I write? No. Since what happens is the whole time taken to this can be something like 2n or 2n plus 2 nothing. We will only take the upper bound of this particular for, that is n. So it is n only. N only. So the total time taken is the for loop is executing n time. So that way it becomes order of n. Now we are clear for a loop. Okay. And remember one thing. See, we are talking with respect to only time complexity with respect to worst case. Worst case is the case where I can give match the possible input or the largest possible input in that scenario only I'm talking. So whatever input you are giving for this program, it is saying that with respect to your input size, my output will only take time to perform, that is order of n. So if you give for 4 elements, it says taken is just 4 iterations. If each iteration is taking 1 second, it says 4 seconds I'll run this program. So that's why it is saying order here. As your input increases, the time taken to perform this task also increases. Okay. Okay. Now someone says, now let's say accidentally here I have written, okay, sorry here. So when I have to activate annotator, it might take, okay. Someone says, sir, I calculate this total together and I'm getting something like 2n for this statement. What should I do? See, if you are getting 2n, even if someone has accidentally written 2n into c, now what happens if this is 2n into constant time is again 2n only, because constant part we are going to drop constant, so again it becomes n. So that's why it doesn't play an important role. Should I write 2n plus 2 or should I write only n? So that's why we are, for easier thing, we are writing n. Okay, got it? So no confusions at that point. Even if you write at the final time, you are going to drop the constant. So again, it will be simply written order of n. Okay, got it? So let me go for the next next rule, that is when I am having nested loops. So this is clear how we are in loops. Loops are not sequence programs. Loops are program within the program. That's why they doesn't act as loops. Okay. Okay. So now let's go to we'll go for the nested loops. And now in nested loops, I think you should always remember a factor of something called internal loop to outer loop. Always when you're calculating the time complexity, assume that you are starting from the internalmost loop to outermost loop. That's more important. And you have to consider the total time running of all loops together, not one loop, all the loops together. Now here I have already given an answer, I'm sorry, but let's see how the loops are run. The first thing in your calculate, actually your program will run from top to bottom fashion, but for easier understanding, we are making assumption that the program we try to calculate from internal to out, into out. Okay, so let me quickly finish that. So the first constant operation that you see here is k is equal to k plus 1, right? You agree? Do you agree this is the constant operator that is running? K is equal to k plus 1? Yes, you agree. So let me, since, okay. So let me come out, let me in from internal. So it is which is inside a loop. It's inside loop. Now after this, what it is running? It is running the first for loop, right? The internal for loop. How many times it is running? N times. Constant into n. After you exit this loop, there is one more loop which is running. So if you see program inside program, so the outer program is running now, which is running for n times, right? So that's why if you see c times, I'm running the constant for c times, then the first for loop n times, then the next for loop for n times. So that's why it becomes constant into n into m. That's why it is total constant n square, and the time complexity is order of n square. Okay. Now someone says this. See, see, even if you say the internal loop runs for n minus 1 time and outer loop also runs for n minus 1 time. See, I'm saying the word n times because I don't know whether 99 or 98, both are numbers. That's the reason why we were talking with respect to n. Okay, just that's the reason why I'm saying n time. Even if you say my internal loop is running n plus 1 time, I can simple, for easier simplification, you can take, you can see it as n times only. Okay, got it? So I think Nishit, your answer, you'll get the clarity in the next topic. Don't worry. Okay, so this is clear how it is order of n square now. See, whatever, let it be the increment or decrement happening, that is not what we are interested. We are saying here how many times this loop might run. Now I have a question here. For your easy understanding, I have one simple question. Let's take, there is an operator which is trying to compare. I is equal to 1. This is a comparison operator. Now these are not sequential. Please, yeah. Please do not get confused. These are looping concepts. sequence concept we'll just see in the next slide. Okay. See, what happens is when you are writing time complexity, let's say you have got a equation like n plus 1. What is the time complexity of n plus 1? Still you will write order of n. If your complexity is n minus 1, still you will write the same time complexity is going to take order of n. Just try to explain why they are same, why they are not same. I'll just try to explain you with a simple example. Why they are same and where you are getting it. Okay. Let's say there are n numbers. Okay, n numbers. Just randomly type one n number that you like, that n is equal to size here. Just any number you can just type. 100 someone type. Someone has 50. Someone has told 50. See, your n is the size of input, which is n. For someone it is 500, for some it is 100, for some it is 50, right? You agree with that? You agree with this case? So when your input is being given, you are saying my loop will run those many number of times. Yes or no? Now what happens is when you are going for n plus one time running of the loop or n minus one time running of the loop, total all with respect to your input, those many times it is running. That's why n minus 1, n all comes into the class of n elements. Okay, please don't get confused. Someone says order of n minus 1. They never write something like order of n minus. They always try to write this belongs to a set of input size. So it becomes order of n, which means with respect to input, my program is going to behave. Okay, so for some n input or n minus 1, at max one time run will differ and it will differ only by milli microsecond, which is negligible. Okay, what you are saying is correct. You are saying n plus one time running is 101, n minus one time is 99 run. That's agreed. But we are generically putting in a class. So class of input, n is none other than class. That's why if you write order of n, it is understandable that it is going to run for n times. Okay, don't worry here. Don't worry. We try to keep the calculation simple. If you say, no, let me say n minus 1 and n minus 1. Ultimately, you might end up getting 2n or something, but we will just try to ignore. Okay, right. See, j into 2 is a different concept here. Now, someone had a very beautiful question. Okay, just someone has a very beautiful question. So Anil, you are wrong because you are partially correct, but you are wrong adding at the constant. Constant, I have told you again. This constant, one second here, let me activate the note. Okay, let me activate for a second. What happens is this is completely one part. Okay, this one part. So I start C first. After C, this is one condition exit. So that's why it is C into N, not C plus. And this is not a sequence. This is a loop. Okay, got it. So this clarity you'll get in the next slide here. Okay. So now that's, I hope I am clear. Now someone had a question. Instead of writing order of n square, can I write order of n m? No, you can write, but it is always advisable to write order of n square or order of m square, not writing in the terms of order of n into m. Okay, so that's correct, but still you have to write in order of n square to avoid ambiguity. For loop, it is always we try from inner to out here. You can write, that's what I'm saying. Someone wants to, can I write order of mn? Yes, you can write. What it happens is size of input m and size of input n. But unfortunately, in this case, if you see the input size is only n. We are not using two inputs m and n. That's why you should not write order of m n for this program. When you have two input sizes, you are correct order of mn you can write, but for the same single input, you will preferably write order of n into n or order of n square. Got it? If you have see cases in the sense what I'm talking is for program two inputs. That is what I was talking with respect to mn. Okay, right. So there is a question of j is equal j star 2 that you will get clear in the logarithmatic. Just wait here. Okay. Okay. Now let's try to look at the sequential way, how people are trying to solve a problem when it is sequential. See, sequential way and non-sequential are two different things. Okay, now first of all, before going to sequence, what are the statements that you are feeling they are part of sequence? Just try to answer them. Okay, or I will write the question each statement by statement, then you try to answer. Do I consider x is equal to x plus 1 is a part of the sequential program? Yeah, okay. So what is the time taken to run? I have already mentioned it is constant. Now come, it's clear. Now come to the first for loop. Do you find for and m both a sequence or as a loop here? This two together. Look, great. What is the time complexity that you find now? Please do not say. Oh, okay, someone had a very interesting question. So let me. So how many people are not feeling this as part of loop here? Some people might feel these are also sequence. How many people are finding that? Let me look at that. Shreya. Okay, Shreya, why are you assuming that you are in sequence is because there are no brackets, right? But remember, this for loop and m are part of it. Whenever you get a for loop, the next immediate execution statement should be sequence. Now, I understand because there are no braces, you got confused. When I write a pseudocode, we try to avoid brackets as much as possible. But if you're getting confused, have the freedom to put the brackets here. Okay? Yeah, you have the freedom. Don't worry. Don't get confused. You just put the bracket for yourself so that it makes your job easier. Okay. Now, the time complexity for these two steps would have been C into N. Got it? And this is some constant operator. Now come to the next two for loops. What is the time complexity that you would have made an assumption is C into N square. Right? Got it. Now if you see, we have got three parts in the program. Yes or no? How many parts you are able to see? Now you will be saying, I'm able to see three parts. Now what are those three parts? C, CAN and CN square. So write it in an equation form. Why? Because these are three parts that are going to execute in a sequential manner. In a sequential manner. So your equation for this will be C. However, you can write C plus CN or CN. So I'll write in the CN square plus CN plus C order. This will be the equational form when you have sequence. See, they are sequentially. That's why C plus CN plus CN square. Now you got how I am doing the sequential addition? You got it now? Now show me what will be the time complexity. See, multiplication is only done for groups, not to the sequence, please. Now, in this, now someone say, can't I write order of n or can't I write order of 1? Should I write order of n? See, there is a general rule. Whenever you are having an equation that is f of n, functional equation, in that you always drop the lower orders. The lower order is Cn plus C, so you can drop. The higher order is Cn square. So your time constant, and even after that's the first one. The second rule, you have to drop the constant multiplier. You can drop even this. So the result is n square. So the time complexity for the worst scenario is order of n square. Is that clear? I hope I am clear how to do the sequential addition. So whenever I talk to sequence, it is not line by line. All loop targets or the loop should be performed first. Then you should do the addition to the parts of the code. Got it? Okay. We know we will do one thing. When there is a break, I'll try to explain this. Yes. Only I will not wait. Okay. Let me go to how n square. That's what I told you. We'll just have the discussion. Okay. Great. Yeah. Let me go to the next slide where we'll be discussing about if else condition and then okay, that's a very good question, one which I would like to answer right now. Someone said my equation is n square plus n, right? Would you agree with my statement? Actually the equation is n square plus n plus some constant value, but constant. Now should I write order of n square plus n? Should I write this or no? No, they're giving me an answer correct no, but some people are saying yes. I tell you why not. Okay, let's try to design a graph. Okay, I think most of you have not viewed the recording features on time complexity, so don't worry. But I'll just try to design a graph and try to explain you the different notation, then you'll get that clarity. Okay, so if you have time, we'll just try to discuss that for a minute and then we'll. This is your input n size and this is the time taken to execute. Okay. Now what I have a equation which says n square n plus 1. Let's take this the simplest possible format of the other equation. Is this okay? Okay. Now can n plus 1 will be at any time will it be greater than n square? At any time with any input you give n to be 100 n to be just look at two parts n. Oh, great answer. Okay, I have to put one more condition where input is then equal to 1. Okay, fine. Now I think you have the answer. Oh, that's what where n is greater than 1 year, not less. Input size is we are talking larger input notation. See what you have to do with respect to with respect to the lower bound, but talking about only upper because it's notation. Okay. Okay. Now in this case, n times to n square will be other than n one. Okay. Okay. So n square is always greater than n plus one. What happens? What we are trying to say for any given input, after one cost after certain time, nothing can grow greater than n square. What is after certain time in this particular equation? After certain time with input, nothing will grow greater than n square. So your graph will be with respect to input, it will be growing. Sorry, it will be growing. One second, let me bring back to position. I'm just trying to add to this because what happens is your graph grow exponentially. This is the functional graph of n. Okay. Now what happens is after some time it will not. It is not going to behave weirdly than any input n square. So that's why we are going to only the top bound n square. Okay, that's the reason why we consider order of n square rather than order of n. Got it? So with a larger input for a given time with n square input, it might grow exponentially. That's the reason why we always take n square as top notation rather than writing order of n square plus. Is that clear or any confusion? Yeah, maximum top bound will take. Okay, if you graph for something else, if you graph for one, so you design for one will be linear and n will growth will be not exponential, it will be constant growth, but n square will grow exponentially. So what I'm trying to say, even if it grows exponentially with respect to bigger notation, after x square n square it is not going to grow anymore. So one it will be linear. When you take n input, it is going to go constant, but n square become exponential, which is the worst case. That's why always take n square. Got it? With respect to this case only we are okay. Now let me talk about this. I have explained, so there is no ambiguity. If else, sorry, in yesterday's session the if else PPT I have missed certain statements, so that's why I'm again discussing about if else statement. Okay, so let's have a look at if else statement. In if else statement, do if and else will run at the same time? I have a question. Will if and else will run at the same time? Definitely no, right? Okay, no, great. Now what happens is any one of the statements, either if statement will run or else statement will run. Okay. Uh, Kalki, you are correct. What you're trying to write here is correct. So what you are trying to say, f of n will never be less than, it won't be greater than n here, not less, it's greater. Okay, so we'll just discuss about your question afterwards. Case statement is case statement. What is a switch condition? So it will run, will enter once, and only one statement will go. Uh, Switch statement, I got it. Okay, here I some other I'm missed from April statement. Let me back to. So I had a question: whether if will run or else will run or both will run together here. If else statement, which one will run? Only anyone, right? Great. Now let's say we get two time complexity for, if let's say it is order of n, and for else let's say the time complexity is order of n square. What will be the total time complexity of program? What are you making a guess? So one is order of n. If statement is saying that the time taken to run statement is order of n, the time taken to run else statement is order of n square. So what will be the total time complexity of your program? Why are you not saying order of n? Why are you saying order of n? Why are you not saying order? Why? Because when in if the state, we will always try to describe the worst case. Worst case here. Do not say max, say the worst. The possibilities with some input else statement can get trigger and it will run for n square. And that's why I am taking the worst case scenario of order of n. If statement is, if it is always true, I'll be able to run in order of. But still, your program you are talking with the worst. That's why when you search for any program, you get three conditions: best case, worst case, and average case. Now, what will happen in this program if someone wants to ask you what is the best case of this program? For example, you will always try to say whichever is running the smallest. If a statement is there, if is running with constant time, else is running with order of n time. The best case you will be saying is with respect to theta notation of 1. Okay, got it. No, order of 1 will not say. The moment you say big O, it becomes the worst case representation. You'll use the word omega notation. Remember here, it's omega of 1. Got it? So what happens in real life is we don't use omega and we try to avoid omega. We majorly use only two conditions, that is big O notation or theta notation. What is theta notation? Even with respect to any input, let it be the best input or worst input, I am behaving the same way. I mean, no upper bound, the upper bound and lower bound are so closely tightened, then I will always represent theta. This representation is familiar in recursion program. In most of your recursion programs, when you see divide and conquer, they will try to say in terms of theta notation because divide and conquer are so closely bounded with upper bound and lower bound. That we'll talk later. Okay, till I think I'm clear with if else statement. Okay, got it. So I'm moving to the next discussion, that is logarithmetic. Okay. So let me go to the logarithmetic time complex. Before going to logarithmetic time complex, have a look at my example where I am not incrementing a program one by one. I'm incrementing it by some constant multiplier. That is I is equal to I star 2. If my input is n, let's say input, how many of my elements will totally be visited by the for loop? All n will be considered or some portion of n will be considered? That's my question. For the program example, sum is you are saying the n by 2 is okay, some portion. Technically half, right? Great. Now, let's say now I have a question. If I'm at k, what will be the element n here? Anyone guess me? What will be the element n? If I'm at some called k, what will be my element? So you might ask, sir, we have no idea what is the input, but input is n. Some one of the elements of n you will at k, yes or no? One of the element, right? Some element you will have at the case, yes or no? Okay, I'm repeating my question. Let's say your loop has run for some steps. Let's say that step number k. Now your n should also be associated with some number. Yes or no? What will be that number as per your? Yes, it should be some power of 2. Correct. So I'm at k step, so 2 to the power of k will be the value of the n, right? Yes or no? It will be 2 to the power of some value for the k n, right? Yes or no? Would you agree with that? 2 power k is equal to the, because I'm at k step and my division is, my multiplication is happening with 2. So I should be at 2 to the power of k. If I am at k step, 2 to the power of k will be the number. Yes or no? That's what I have written. If I am at k step, 2 to the power of k will be the sum number I am coming out of the loop, or if it is the last iteration. Right? Now that's clear. Now if I apply logarithmetic at both the sides, log 2 to the power of k is equal to log n. See, remember, this k log 2 is a part of log x to the power of y, can be written as y log x here. Okay, y log x. So y log x, you can just simply write k log 2, which is logarithmic. So since I am using base 2, so log to the base 2 is 1. So k becomes log n. Whenever you are doing multiply, yes, here I in, if you are okay, let's say it is not I is equal to I star 2, it's I is equal to I into 4. Still, can I write log n? Yes, you can still write log n. Why? Because the base you are taking instead of 2 becomes base 4. Okay, so whenever you are doing multiplication or division operators at incremental point, because you are reducing half of your work, that's why you will say input not n2, which is half. So I am saying instead of log n, I am working on log n. Okay. Yes, if you have I star 4 also, what happens? Your will be log 4 to the base k. Okay, so you become 4. Okay. What about, very good question here. So you have this as part of your exercise. Now what happens is, now someone says I is equal to n by 2. That is your initialization of. There we are not going to consider it as logarithmic because it is a condition check and the time taken for that is only 1. Okay. So let's see that with example. Let's see that with example. Okay. Okay. So I think rules are clear, but you might have still questions. Logarithmic, don't worry, we'll just have the discussion for a minute. Okay. Okay. Just come up with what is the time taken for this problem. I request people to please try to do on paper and pen and just put the answer in. Okay. Then you have a valid question. What you are saying is, let's say instead of I is equal to I star 2, you are saying I is equal to into 4. Great. Your increment is happening by 4 times. Yes, you're saying my increment is happening. So what happens in your case is, you will be saying at step k, at nth step or at the kth step, it will be 4 to the power of k is equal to n. And your base will not be 2, your base will be 4 here. Why? Because you're incrementing by every iteration by 4 steps. You're jumping 4 elements. So that's what. Anything, let it be I into 4, I into 3, I into anything is the same. Someone has given me answer as order of n square log n is someone has given n cube. Someone has given n by 2 plus n by 2 log n. Okay, n square, someone has given n square log n. Okay, so great, I'm getting good answers. So let us try to look at what are the answers and then we will try to have discussion. Okay, how many times is the first loop running here? How many times is the first loop running here? Actually, it is n by 2 times. You're correct. The first loop is running n by 2 times. For easier understanding, you say it is running for some n time. Now, people will get confused. N by 2 and n times are two different things. Yes or no? They are two different. but why should I still consider it as n rather than n by 2 times? What happens is n is an input size. Okay, n is an input size and by 2 is a constant operator. So okay, that's why you can say n by 2 or n. That is not going to affect you. So let's take. Now next, how many times is this loop is running? The loop internal loop is also running n by 2 times or n times. That's absolutely correct. N times I'm taking just for easier references. So don't worry. Correct type of iterations is n by 2. Now how many times is the for loop is running is log n times. Log n times, right? Now let's see the equation. See outer loop 2 times, so just do simple multiplication. N into n is n squared into log n. Got it? So that's the reason why it is n squared log. Now those people who have written n plus log n and would have written order of n. Why it is wrong? Let's have a look. Someone would have also got this in thought. Sir, my answer is n plus log n. Okay. Then they would have written answer as order of n. Yes or no? They would have considered it as order of n. So, okay. Let's take this equations one again. Before going to the middle loop, please let me finish this. Someone would have considered the outer loop is running for n times, inner loop is running for n times, the last loop is running for log n times. So they mistaken n plus log n. Correct? Assume. Now this is your statement. What is your time complexity? You would have got the time complexity as order of n, right? That is wrong because clearly observe this whole part is behaving like a single loop. You start first loop to the last. That's the reason why it is n square. N square log n. Okay. Now let me see some questions which were interesting. Okay, why it is log n? For this last loop explanation, just take this example. This is constant time operation. This is n time operation, right? And this is just take this example here. This will make your doubt clear. Just go through the slide. It should be clear for you. So how many times at n step I am somewhere at 2 to the power of k to know what position. Okay, got it. That's the reason why we are talking about n square log n. Okay, got it. See, if you write log n for this, your answer is wrong. Even if you n square, it is wrong. Why? Because n square log n is greater than log n or n square. Okay. Now this problem is similar, so I'm just skipping. This is self-explanatory. Say what is the time complexity for problem 3 here? What is the time complexity for problem 3? There is a break statement. There is a break statement. Order of n. Yeah, you did yesterday, so I'm skipping the explanation. Those who have typed wrong, don't worry. Just once I can go through the rule, you will be able to understand why it is. Why? Because this for loop is going to run only once. That reason. So I explained this yesterday. I'm just skipping. Now, very important. So we will not take break. We'll try to finish this problem and then we'll take break. Okay. How many people have tried to solve the problem? Just tried. You got a correct answer or not is not a question, but how many people have tried to solve? Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Hey, I'm not talking what is your answer. I'm just asking the question. Did you try it or you just ignore? Okay. So I think people have tried. Most of the people. No is fine. Don't worry. Okay. Now let's take an example how to solve problems of this kind. Yeah, I already told you I'm not able to see the one who have actually raised their hands because we have so many participants. So I'm again requesting please post their questions. Okay. 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 Just so let's see the people who have tried. what was the time complexity they would have encountered? I'll ask that question later, but let's try to solve it. See, recursions are the problems that you mostly encounter when you're trying to solve algorithm with divide and conquer method, right? With agree me, recursion or something like divide and conquer method, all the program actually have recursion. A merge sort is a simple example of a recursion. Quick sort is a simple example of a recursion based program. Let's say, how did I get this? We are not going into that details because that itself is a different topic of time complexity calculation of recursion using tree method. So that I will request, since it's not part of syllabus, I don't want you to get into confusion. For if you someone gives an equation into this format, how will I try to solve this? What I'm going to teach you with the help of a recursion method. Okay. Now let's take this as a equation. What it tries to take, either my program will run 2t n minus 1 times, or else if my input is equal to 0, it will just run with a constant time 1. That's what the program says. Either I will run, else I will just exit in one time. For example, if the input size is 1, divide and conquer cannot run, so you will be giving output in 1. So that's the case when the input size is greater than, or I should say greater than 1, but greater than 0, why we take it, no input and then input with 1. Okay, so my program is going to run with 2t n minus 1 condition if there is an input, and if there is no input, it's just going to run in 1. Now how do I, till now whatever I have seen are little different. There I could have simply written order of n or order of n square or something I was able to. But in this case, if it is a recursion based, you cannot use the generic rules what we have learned till this point. The method that we use is called a method called substitutional method. Okay, the method that we are going to learn is substitutional method. Solve the function with the substitution method, and this is only done when it is a recursion based program. Okay, so now look at this. What is substitutional method? What is the value of t of n as per you? What is the value of t of n per you? No, it's not n factor. It's not n square. No, don't worry. That's what else. See, recursion based methods, the equation, they will be always coming in condition either this or that. Okay. See, the n, the t of n is one condition is either 1, in the other condition it is 2t minus 1 minus 1. So this statement will execute when it is true. When recursion is happening, this statement will execute when there is no recursion. So this we call it as base condition. Okay, let's start. T of n is always the base condition. You see, this is t of n minus 1 minus 1. Yes. Now substitutional method, t of n should be substituted. If it is t of n, what is here? 2t n minus 1 minus 1. But what is this? This is t of n minus 1. You're getting my point? T of n minus 1. This is t of n minus 1, right? Now when you do substitution, you have to do substitution for whole this statement, that is t of n minus 1, not for t of n. Right? Got it? So where I am going to do the substitution, you are able to understand t of n minus 1. If I have t of n, I simply write 2t n minus 1 minus 1. In a substitution method, always you should try to substitute t of t. Do I have t of t here? Do I have t of t here? No, I have t of n minus 1. So let's try to substitute. What will be the value of t of n minus 1? Any guess? This is actually your 10th class math here. I know it's been years and years people have not done. So you might find it difficulty, but just there you'll be able to understand it easily. So t of n minus 1 I am substituting with yes. I have the correct answer. That is t of n minus 2. Great. I got that answer. Okay, let me close this. Okay, so so this is what the substitution I did. So the substitution is not 2 of t. T you don't need to do because it no need of t of t. It is 2 of tt n minus 2 minus 1 here. Okay, which is minus 2 because second iteration. So that's why you write minus 2. This is what you write. 2 square t n minus 2 minus 2 minus 1. What is that you are going? Again try to substitute one more. Why I am substituting one more time is assume this. Tree based. Just simply assume it as a tree based. At the first iteration, if your input size is here, At the second iteration, divide and conquer, what will be the number of iterations you are going to do? Let's answer this question first. If at the first step you have given input here, if the iteration is happening for second time, how many? Left side you will have n by 2, right side you will have n by 2. Yes or no? Would you agree for this or no? And you are dividing. Root node, if it is n, left tree will be n by 2, right tree will be n by 2. Do you agree with this? Okay. One second, I'll mark that. Let's assume you are doing a divide and conquer for some n. When you are dividing it for the first time, it will be n by 2. Again, it will be n by 2. Do you agree with this? Yes. Again, if you are further dividing, n by 4, n by 4, n by 4, n by 4, right? This is where how your division is happening. So because every time you are going to substitute it's the iterations, right? Now one more time you have to substitute t of n minus 1, which is here it is t of n minus 2, so it becomes t of n minus 3 substitution value for the equation. So continue with all your substitution, and finally you will encounter something like this equation. Whenever you are substituting, you keep on going on, right? So you say 2 power n of n minus n, something this way, and finally you are able to reduce your equation with the expression. Okay, how did I got this? Which one you are having? This question, right? You are having question at this. See, that's what I'm saying. In the substitutional method, you are going to substitute the iteration one, which is t of n minus of 1, which is minus 2 here. Minus 1, minus 2. So don't worry. See, this you have to practice here. I'm sorry I cannot explain the whole school maths again. Okay, so that's the reason I'm just saying this is the method, and finally you will get your answer t of 1. Okay, don't worry. Time complexity will be taken. Okay, I think this was not an easy way to solve a problem when you're doing recursion method. Every time you have to substitute, you are substituting a wrong value. What happens is, my final answer might get wrong. See, Divya, we are not making assumption n plus 1 or there it will be n plus 1. Generally, when it is division, we assume that the division is happening equal. In reality, it might not happen, but making an assumption. If I got n values in recursion, one side it will be n by 2, other side also will have the same number of elements. May not be same. That's what I'm saying. If it is 1, what happens is you might even not run the loop. Okay, so don't worry with the recursion. This is how the recursion goes. We'll just take 5 minutes break. I think the recursion was little heavy on you, but recursion is not part of the syllabus. We are working on master method. When there is a recursion, how to solve it in a simple way, we'll learn with master method. I just want to show you how complex is the recursion way. So what I have decided, I did is in the running notes, I have written very clear explanation about how I did this problem in this manner here. Okay, we are going on break for a minute. Just give me 5 minutes break, and then we'll start with master theorem method, which will take mostly 20 minutes, which is easy. 20 is too long time, which is easy. Then we'll just recollect arrays, stacks, and queues. Okay. Okay. Ramesh, sorry, yesterday order of n by 2 is equal to order of log n. I told it accidentally. It was not order of n equal to order of log n. It is something if n is being divided by some factorial number, I can write it as log n. So order of log n. In that was my contest, but unfortunately I spelled it as order of n by 2 is equal to order of log n here. It's a mistake because you have to write it as log. Okay, right. Arun, how does this equation get is a completely different topic which I don't want to incorporate, and that is something called recursion proofs. So I'm not we are that is not very important for our course. So I'm just keeping it as self-learning topic. Otherwise, whatever are important for a person to be a algorithm design, we are just focusing on that. Right? So okay, let's just discuss about the master theorem. See, whenever you have a recursion based function, always writing the recursion or trying to solve the recursion based functions substitution is a hectic topic or a hectic task. So what people have done is they have developed a method called master theorem method, where we'll be focusing the functions are particular format. The format is if the t of n is in a format of a of t n by b plus f of n, you directly use your master theorem method. What are the master theorem? See, it's a method that is always used to analyze the time complexity for recursion function, and especially this is used in divide and conquer all. Whenever you find a recursion function in particular form, that is t of n is equal to at n by b plus f of n, a and b being 1. Okay, so a and b are, you can assume are greater than or equal to 1, being greater than or equal to 1 and b being greater than or equal to 1 is the condition. If you find a equation in this format, you directly use master theorem. Before I use master theorem, are there any cases in master theorem? Yes, every master theorem comes with 3 cases, and we will see each case one by one and how to use them. And now we'll Suchitra, I could not get what is T of B of n. Oh, this is not needed. I forgot. Okay, whenever you are getting in this format, you directly, whenever you find a recursion equation in this particular format, you can directly implement the master theorem. Let's see. What is n? It is none other than the current size of the problem. A, the number of problems in recursion, n by b. See, this n by b total together. N and b are, so the n by b, the subsize, the size of each sub problem. Okay. So now what happens is, let me make the notation for a minute so that you be clear. Okay. See, when you have problem, put the initial input. This is n. That's the size of the complete problem. When you do division, every time the size of the problem sub problems upon reducing. At one iteration it is n by 2. For some other iteration it is n by 4. Some iteration it is n by 8. So on. So the whole that n by b is the sub problem totally. This the size. So n is your total by the b. That is the iteration. Okay. So n is the size of the each sub problem. I think you are clear now. F of n is the cost of the work that has to be done outside the recursion. What is f of n to be done outside the recursion is when you do the recursion completely and you try to merge each problem together to get the final output. That is the f of n, which is not part of the recursion. Right? That is the cost of dividing or the cost of the merging is called as f of n. Is that clear? Or any confusion? Yeah. So you are clear. If you find equation in this form, yeah, we'll do with 3 examples. No, not 1 year. We're going to do without examples. I know it's not that easy to have. What is sub problem? Okay. Now let's say divide and conquer sort. In quick sort, array sorting all elements is problem, right? Again. Now in quick sort, you are going to get a pivot value where you divide the equation. 1 minute. Using the pivot value to divide your problem into two halves. So the first half can be said as a sub problem. The second can be said as the next sub problem. Okay. Uh, is my voice getting seriously there? Now is it clear? Is my okay? Okay, I just stopped and okay. Both my video and audio are breaking. Okay, just give me a second. Once I'll unmute and mute here. Now is the voice clear? Okay. Uh, okay. So you are clear with the terminologies that what what is someone had a question. Now, of these A is not the size here. A is the number of subproblems in the recursion. What is the number of subproblems? Now, when you are dividing C by 4, n by 8, all the divide to 1. So, those total number of divisions that you are doing is the number of subproblem. Okay, what subproblem? Okay, good. Divide and okay. Very good. Okay, just one second. Quick sort. I'll just talk about quick sort. If you're not understood, don't worry. Now, in quick sort, we are trying to arrange the elements in a sorted order, right? We are doing this method. We try to divide the problem into half and solve them. When we are dividing, I get a pivot value and I divide into two. The first half can be called a subproblem. The second half can be called a subproblem. That is what we call it as a subproblem. Now again you divide it further, that is one more subproblem. You divide it further, that is other subproblem. The portion of the original problem which you are solving in that iteration is called a problem. I think that should be clear now. Okay. Now let me continue. Okay. Now, so f of n I have told you that is the time taken which is outside the recursion problem. It's dividing operation or merging operations. Right? Okay. See, t is none other than the time taken at instance. Okay. Now see, I told you master theorem comes with three cases, and when bit is to be used is dependent. When will be discussed little bit later. Let's try to look at three cases. Now, when you have a tree, what are the elements that a tree has? Say me. You have a tree. What are the elements a tree will have? It's a notes good, edges great, leaves great. Okay. Yes, great. Root, what's leaf? Perfect, perfect. That's pretty. Some people can say root, edge, nodes, and nodes also someone can say leaf node, intermediate node. So basically, if you see, majorly I have a root, I have a leaf, I have leaves or nodes together. Leaf in the sense I'm talking about one category, the bottommost nodes I call it as leaf, and I have edges to connect them. That's all. Okay, branches and so. Okay. Uh, mm, 5 minutes, so we'll just move on. Don't worry. I have to just talk about these conditions and we'll move to the problem. Okay. Now these are the three cases. Now if my problem is completely dominating at the leaf node, matlab I'm getting the solution at the leaf node, I'll be using the case one. How do I get to know? Do not worry for instance, that will come when we have the problem. If my problem is equally distributed throughout the tree, every iteration is performing as equal, then I will be using case 2. Case 2 is the 2 number. If my problem is dominant at the root, I mean at the initial stage without any division, I will be using some called as case 3. What are these? Just let me read the cases. If you observe each case, the final output you are getting is an average case notation, P of t theta. See, worst case, if my program is running all the way till the leaf, all the way till the bottom, it means my complete all subnodes are running. That's why it is worst case, big O notation. If my problem is equally distributed, that's the average case. Anytime this is going to behave the same. The moment I give input and I'm getting output, the best case is working. That's why if you see each case is talking about a situation big O, omega and theta. So all subloops are running in worst case program. So for that each we have got three conditions. These three conditions I'll talk when with an example. But only remember one thing, when you're doing the case 3, should always check for something called relative condition that I will discuss at the time of example. Okay. See, internal nodes, external nodes, no. Leaf node, matlab the bottommost nodes. When we are talking about case to all the nodes, which include leaf and root and everything here. Okay. Right. Let me go with an example how to apply the theorem. Then we will come back because I think it was too much theory for the point. Now, what are the factors that we have seen in the equation? I have got A, I have got B, I have got f of n, I have got something called n by b. If you see any point we have not n in different, n is equal to total input. That is T of n, right? Now, if you see I have got A value, I have got B value, I have got f of n values. Yes, I have got 3 values for just again going back for the equation. How is this equation looking? Please do look here. I have got A separate, I have got n by b value, I have got f of n, right? These are the values what I am going to have in my equation. So first step that I do all this, extract A value, B value and f of n value for a given reaction. Okay. Now after you have extracted each value, what should I do? You are going to substitute. You are going to determine something called as n log a to the base b. Okay. N log a base b is what an issue is you are supposed to determine. How do I determine this? Basically, you are going to substitute the value a and value b into the determined n log a by b. That's the way how we are going to determine n log a by b. Apart from that, I have got f of n. Now I have got a determined value called n log a by b. I'm going to compare these two values. When I compare, what are my cases is I can encounter equal case, I can encounter greater than case, or I can encounter lesser than case. These are the three cases when I do compare. Either my value will be or it will be greater or it will be less. Based upon your equal, less or greater condition, you implement one of the three cases. So if it is equal, you will be always applying the condition second case here. Okay, when it is equal, you will be applying the case 2. Okay, when it is less than, you will be applying case 1, and when it is greater, you will be applying case 3. I think just heard something randomly saying like 3 cases is equal, you are saying case 2. If it is less, you are saying case 1. If it is greater, you are saying case 3. But with what? You will always compare f n to n log a to the base b here. Okay, let's try to do the problem, and if you're not able to understand, we'll stop with one case, try to understand that much clear, then we'll go to the two other cases, right? Is that okay? Let me go to them so that theory concept will be more clearly understood, right? Okay. Now first question, is this in the format of a to the a t n by b plus f of n? Can you say this is in the form of a of t of n by b plus f of n? Can you say this problem is, so can I use master theorem? Can I use this master theorem? Yeah, okay. Now step, what should I do in the first step? What I'm supposed extract a value, b value and f of n value. A value, b value and f of n. What is a value here? 2. What is b value? 2. B value is 2. And what is the value of f of n is equal to n. 3 values you extract. Now let's try to solve. Did I extract it? Correct. Great. Now what is the second? determine something. What is that? N of log a to the base b should be determined, right? How do I determine that? Just substitute the values of a and b in the formula n of log a to the base b. Did you determine which is n log 2 to the base 2 is 1, and so n power 1 is equal to n, correct? Did you determine this or no? Yes, great. Now what is the third step? Comparison between f of n and the determined value. Okay, okay. So let me get on a little bit slow. It goes to the step number 2. Is the step number 2 clear? Is the step number 2 clear? No. Okay, great. Okay, if it's not no, I'll just explain. So step number 1, what I did, extracted value A, I extracted value B, I extracted f of n. 3 values I extracted. The step number 2, let's make an assumption there is a predefined formula which says n log a by b. Okay, that's there. Now I have to determine n log a by b. How do I determine? By substituting the value of a and b in that formula. So I have substituted the value a and b in the formula n log a by b. I did. So when n log 2 to the base 2 is always 1, so I have retrieved n by 1 is equal to n by 1. Got it. Yes, okay. Whenever, okay, there is a very important question. How do I know that 2 of n is equal to n by 2 plus n? It's always a given statement. Someone says the function is in this format. So for those who are going to work. Log base 1 is undefined, yeah. Okay, so let me till step 2 people are clear, I hope so. Let me go to the step number. What is step number 3? Is I am going to compare between f of n and the determined value n log a to the base b. Yes or no? The step number 3, comparison between f of n and n log a to the base b, which is a determined value. If I compare, see, remember please, the comparison is always done between f of n to n log a by b here, right? So what is the comparison that you are going to get here? What is the comparison here? If n equal to n, you can say this 2 comparison is going to equal. Now got it. Till this step, everyone should be okay. I guess a simple extraction, substitution and comparison. There is no doubt. And when you compare, you understood that the values are equal. No, here we have problems where they are not equal. Don't worry here. I'm just trying to make you understand it with easier problem first, then we'll go for a little difficult. Now, the equation is we are saying this is equal. Now, I have got how many rules in master theorem or how many cases in the master theorem I have got? Total 3 cases. The first case, second case, third case. Now, when it is equal, what it means to say is just for simple understanding, remember, the upper bound and lower bound both are closely, tightly associated. So can I say this is case number 2? Can I say this is case number 2? Yes. Case 2 here. So, okay, because case 3 if someone has written, just forget for a minute. Let's once again go back to this case. See, tightly bounded, tightly. Okay, equal, which means tightly. The upper and no, just that's an assumption that in any case, outer function and inner function both are happening at the same time complexity. So let's okay, the upper function is the outer function f of a, and the internal function is the t of the equation. So that's the way you make an assumption. Okay. So case 2. Now let's solve the problem. We decided we are going to use the case 2. Okay. Now what is case 2? So I'll just request you people to note the case 2 for a minute here, so that we don't have a confusion for the instance. Just note down the t of n equal to the statement. Just the theta of n log a b log n. Just that condition I want you to note down. Okay. Hope you would have noted down. Can I go back to the problem, please? Yeah. Now if you see, just what I do is I substitute f of n is equal to theta of n, right? Because t of n, because if this is what I have to substitute. See, f of n is equal to theta of n log b by a. B's value is 1, a's value is 1, sorry, a's value is 2, b's value is 2, so it becomes, f of n becomes theta of n, right? Theta of n, that's why it becomes theta of n. Now, t of n is equal to theta of n log a by b. So, what will be the time complexity of t of n now? It will become n log n, right? So, the time complexity to solve this problem is theta of n log n. Now, people have a lot of questions. Why it is case 2? Why it is case 2? Right? When you have got a function, when you are able to get an value which is so close to that function, not so close, is equal to function, what it means is the upper bound and the lower bound. It means externally you are not able to find a value that is going to prove there exists some other equation which is greater than f of n or less than f of n. That's why you take case 2 here, theta condition. Is that clear? Okay, so Pawan has a question. Why can't I take, okay, why can't I take my time complexity as n? See, n log n is always greater than n. If you write theta of n, the worst case is theta of n log n. That's why you take theta of n log n as your time complexity. Okay, what is theta condition? Here I am again requesting people, please go through the videos in the recording about the time complexity. Theta is time complexity when you are able to find an average conditions. So what is average condition? Is, let's say f of n is an equation, your time taken to perform. You are trying to identify does there exist some value which is going to perform more than f of n or less than f of n. But here if you even substitute external condition, that is a log a by b, which was not here, that's an extra. Even they are saying that I am not able to find any equation that is greater or less equal. So it should be average case. Got it? That's the reason why you get average case. The determined value n log a by b is an external condition. They are trying to prove I might get a function greater or less. Is this clear? Can I go to the next one more example? Okay, I can go. Thank you. Okay, great. Now let's discuss about. At this point, I'm Arun. I'm really sorry. This voice it got breaked. I don't know. Just for your case, once again I'm unmuting and okay. So I'm really sorry if the voice is breaking. Because I'm delivering from Hyderabad campus, I think there might be a bandwidth issue. From next session, I'm sure I'll make that there will be no bandwidth issues from wherever I'm delivering. I'm really sorry. Thing I can do for your case, can I close the video because last two cases are only the problem solving. I'll just close the video so that we can. So now, so I think you're not able to see my video, right? Okay, fine. So okay. Now for these two problems, you'll be only able to audio only. Yes, I have intentionally closed my video because a lot of people were getting breakage. Just going for audio only. Now let's try to solve this problem. Half of the problem is solved. Now try to say what comparison you are going to get, greater or less than or equal to. Always remember you are going to compare between f of n to n a by b r. Just once again think and answer here. How is your comparison happening? F of n to n log a by b. Please remember you're always going to compare. 1 second, give me a second. I'll just put the notator. your comparison should be always between f of a to n log a by b, not n log a by b to f of n. So please, now you say, is it greater or less than? Now it's greater or less than, yes? Sumit, how n is greater than n square? I just have a simple question. Is n greater than n square? No, no. N is less than n square, right? So always remember, if n is less than n square, the comparison operator is here. It is less than here. Yeah, f of n. Just please focus with respect to f of n. So f of n compares to n log n. So what is my output here? It is f of n is less than n square. Got it? Now which case? We go case 2, case 3. See, when it is less than, we are going to go with case 1. Less than, always case 1, which is omega condition. So let's quickly once again to see which case, what is case 1. Okay. Let's see what it says is the case 1. Just write down the case 1 for a minute. Those who have thought about case 3 will have a discussion. Those who have thought about case 1 also will have it. Just for a minute. Note down case 1 for instance. The f of n completely and t of n completely. I think you have note down. So can I go to the problem blank? Okay, great. Now let's say someone has decided I am going on case number 3. What happens is just meeting. So your f of n is your function, right? F of n is your function. Now what is the external function that you are discussing is n log a by b. Yes, is that an external function? You are saying there is a function which is greater than n square. Means there exists a worst case than f of n. So f of n is not the worst. So that's why we are talking about less than. F of n is less than n square. It means n square, n has an upper boundary n square. That's why we take case 1. That's clear now? Those are choose case 3. Okay. You are saying there exists a upper boundary. So I choose the case 1. Got it? So now let's try to substitute. Say me the answer. I have asked you to copy and say me the answer. So let's see whether it is theta of n square. Got it? Okay. Got it? It's theta of n square. Right? You got the solution for I now it's here. Now I'll go with the question number 3. Okay, sorry. No, no. Okay, very good question. Verma has a very good question. If you observe clearly, we are writing almost our cases in theta notation. See, in mass theorem, we try to represent always our time complexity in average case only. That is only with master theorem. Okay. See, what it happens, epsilon value, some value which I don't know. So that's what epsilon value is something that is not known. Okay. So our time complexity is always t of n. F of n is the external function. There is some external function time taking happening to perform is order of n square or less than order of n square. Got it? So f of n, when saying, that's the substitution here. So that's why, just 1 second. Here you remember the equation. Here you have that substitution value. Okay. So point number 4 again for example. So do you want me to explain the problem point number 4? No, LH is not negative. What we are trying to say here is time taken to perform outside the recursion is f of n. Okay. which say the time taken to perform operation out of recursion might take order of n square less than order of n square because 2 minus epsilon. And what is the epsilon value? If someone says equal to 1, if epsilon is equal to 1, then I'll say the time taken to perform outside operation is the order of n only. You have a question for fraction of n. Master theorem will not be solving all recursion problems here. Why? We will see with the example number 3. See, master is not a solution for all recursion problems. If you are not able to find a solution in master theorem, especially with case 3, you have to use the substitution method. Okay, someone is asking step number 2. Okay, so what is the question you have at step number 2? Can you please do just type? Yeah, simple maths here. When 9 is divided by 3, 3 2s are 9. So log 9 by 3 is another than its square operation. So it becomes n square. There are a lot of, okay, so for answering this kind of questions, we have something called logarithmic table. Just you can go through log n by 9 by 3 will be 2. It will directly write in that logarithmic. You can just Google and you can get those here. Okay? Logarithmic calculations. They are predefined. People have done a lot of proofs and concept by square. Simple. 3 with 9 can be divided by 3 and with factor of 2. Okay. So let me go with the next example. Okay. Now, before explaining example number 3, let's work on case number 3 once before we go to the problem here. So I'm going to case 3 once and we'll just finish it quickly. Okay. Now, can people read the case 3 once? The third master theorem case. Anyone can read master theorem case 1. Sorry, case 3. Okay, so you can go through here. You can go through the logarithmic form. Okay, so logarithmic value is a lot of little school maths which we can't keep on solving. That might take too much time in finishing this syllabus here. Okay, I think we have read the case 3. So what happens in the case 3? See what happens in case 3 is it's very similar to case 3, but the epsilon value is positive. Okay, it's not the condition. Whenever you are getting theta of f of n, you should check for something called as regularity. What regularity condition is? Just look at this. If a of f of n by b should be always less than or equal to c of f of n, where c being a constant value and it should be less than 1. If you are able to prove and if the condition is satisfying, this will be satisfied when your equation is a polynomial equation. Then only you can implement the master theorem for case 3. Otherwise, none of the master theorem can be applied. None in the sense when the condition is case 3. Before case 3 apply, you should always check for a regularity condition. Regularity condition a of f of n by b should be always smaller than some constant value which is multiplying to your external condition. If that holds true, then only case 3 will be implemented. Let's try to quickly solve the problem. And constant value is always less than 1. Okay, remember it should not be less than or equal to 1, it should be always less than 1 only. Okay, now step number 1 is determining a, b. Is this clear? And f of n. Step number 1 we have just did. So till step number 3 I'm just quickly showing up, then we'll discuss about the rest. Okay. Till here you are okay, it's greater. F of n is greater than n log 3 by 4. See, n log 3 by 4 is n log 3 by 4. We assume it is less than 1 in our condition. Okay. See, you have a very valid question. Someone said, do I do to check regularity condition in case 1 and case 2? No. You don't need to check regularity condition in case 1 and case 2. Why? Because case 1 and case 2 are talking about the worst case and the average case. But case 3 is the one which is talking about best case condition. You are trying to say that there is no equation, which external equation which is smaller than this. If there exists, you have to prove you cannot implement the case 3. For case 1 and case 2, you don't have any regularity condition. Is this clear? It's greater. So I'm going to use case 3. So just simply substitute the values before case 3. Sorry. Case 3, you have to check for the regularity condition. The regularity condition is A of f of n by b less than or equal to c of f of n, where c is less than 1. Okay, just check your regularity condition. If you are finding if c is equal to 3 by 4, just randomly you took 3 by 4 is less than 1, you are able to find c of n is less than, sorry, c of f of n is greater than your n of log a by b. So once it is proven, then simply substitute and you will get your answer only when it's satisfied. Okay, now let me go for questions here. There are a lot of questions. Okay, there is something called a concept called master theorem correct, where they have described why epsilon is used and why epsilon is not used. Yes, you are given marks for the steps, don't worry here. Master theorem you will be able to implement the most easily, because there will be no question asked in such a way that find the recursive. It will be for this following recursion function. Please try to please write the time complexity. That's the way all the questions will be. You will be not given an example recursion problem and asked to find the recursion equation. Okay, that's a long time taking process. Okay, but still you have to read about the tree recursion method things. So any other questions you have? Okay, why you have to check for the regularity condition? Okay. See, the regularity condition is checked to ensure that there is no external case that is going to run faster there is no condition. The internal condition is not running faster than the external condition. For that, we will be checking always regularity. Have any people seen the sample questions in the sample question papers in the Takshila? So that is my page, last year page. So you just can expect will be the question paper that I'm going to set. Okay, so that's the way how generally I set the question paper. So coming to the end of arrays and will hold. This is Sunday, so I'll not extend the lecture till 1. So I'm going to stop. I'm sorry that I might have given a lot of theory. That's the way how we will start learning. Now, once the next class theory will end, from then we'll be mostly implementing more algorithms. At that time, you will have more and more questions. Okay, but still it's little theory-based sessions. You have to bear one more. So you will have this lecture notes ready by Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday you will have. See, we have ADTs not today. Every 10 minutes we'll start ADT. We'll discuss ADT in the next lecture. No. See, Pawan, lecture notes is only to understand slides here. You have always the freedom to read textbooks. Okay. Next lectures we will be covering ADTs. If time permits, we will start with introduction of trees here. Okay. Right. Any more questions, or can I end the session? So there was a quick. Just 1 second. I have a question someone has posted. So let me. See, if the regularity conditions fail, what I need to do? If the regularity conditions fail, the recursion theorem has to prove only by substitution method. You cannot prove it by any more by master theorem. Prove no. You cannot find the time complexity using master theorem. You have to prove solve it using only the recursion method.